The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Thursday, the 12th day of May, 2022. Welcome to the Daily Hour, brought to you by Medical House One Communications and Lindo's. I'm Jamal Hartman. She's Sherry Vanderpool, and Leanna Lambert will be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in her news break, brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Sherry, Thursday, one day closer to your favorite Friday. How you feeling, sister?
I'm feeling on top of the world.
Oh, okay. Why are you feeling on top of
Yes, because I am going to be off from both jobs.
the world?
That means a sleep in, it means do me, self care,
Oh.
all of that.
So what does self-care look like for you? Are you gonna get like a massage and your feet did and your hands and whatever they call it?
It's called manicure and pedicure.
That's stuff. That's
Um, that stuff. I probably will get a massage. I'm not sure yet. I'm definitely gonna go get my car washed because
stuff.
it needs some love, and that makes me feel great. When you're driving in a clean car, doesn't your car feel like it runs better?
Yeah, I like the
It's weird.
everything. Yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree.
We agree on some weirdness. That's weird.
Yeah, let me take that back. I disagree. Anyway, greetings everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. Another good one today as we welcome Lorene Phillips on the show. We're discussing the upcoming Huddle on how to build your network successfully and authentically you. So I'm looking forward to this. I follow her on LinkedIn. You all know my favorite platform, YouTube, and then LinkedIn. LinkedIn is one of my favorites for networking. My hope is that Bermudians understand the importance of LinkedIn. I always speak about growing beyond your environment. That is the
Yeah.
place where you can do it. The Daily Play is a name that place. So a little something, something for Sherry. Little something, something, Sherry. Why are you making that face?
Okay.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Between you and Sancha, y'all only got one question right this week.
I think I got. I think I got two. Today will be two. I think.
You all only got one. You didn't get one yesterday, and you're not getting today.
Shut up.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. All right, folks.
I had to catch myself.
Yeah, yeah.
Forget people what.
She's about to cuss me out, y'all. She's about to cuss me out. But look, we've got
You gave
another
me a half a point.
half a
Sorry. Say
point.
yes. Yeah, because I got embarrassed, so I got reggae or something. I'm so mad about that.
You,
But go ahead,
you
Jamal.
knew
I'm
it was
just thinking
reggae.
out loud.
You knew it was reggae. I'll give you that, but it's no half point. Let's give you a quarter. Look, a fifth. Anyway, we have an important conversation to have. Obviously, the police did a press conference yesterday. There was a shooting incident. Thankfully, the gun apparently jammed. It didn't go off at divots on Tuesday afternoon. But one of the things that is troubling to me is the fact that this just continues to be happening. Just on the weekend, I believe Leanna reported this past weekend, there was another incident where it was another gun incident in Bermuda and the gun jammed. If I'm not mistaken, it was this past weekend she reported on.
Hmm.
To me, these are two situations where we should be grateful as a community, and both the perpetrators and those who were intended victims should be grateful. But the question of the morning is very simple. And we're not asking you what can the government do. We're not asking you what can the police do? We're not asking what can education do. We're asking what can we do to steer young people away from the streets? What can we do as a community to steer young people away from the streets? That's the question of the morning today. What can we do to steer young people away from the streets? Because at the end of the day, folks, if we're waiting on someone to come and save us, and that means those people we elect, look, I say this, I probably never said this publicly, and it'll probably offend, but you know me, I'm an equal opportunity offender. And it's just part of my personality at this point.
Oh God.
But I was inspired to start a business because I was in a place where I was relying on people, politicians, who couldn't help themselves to help me. What do I mean by that? If we're relying and waiting on politicians to solve up community problems, we're going to be waiting forever. We're going to be waiting for a very long time, and we're going to be disappointed. We're going to be extremely disappointed in not the results, but the lack of results. So the question is, what can we do to steer young people away from the streets? What can we do to ensure that young people, I say it all the time, Sherry, the streets lead to three things: early death, prison, or a lifetime of paranoia. Don't you want to travel and experience the world? Don't you want a career that you can enjoy? Don't you want a family who can be proud of you, that you can spend time with on different holidays and stuff? I'm not saying it's perfect, Sherry,
Yeah.
but it's less stressful and it's overall a better life. So what can we do as a community to steer young people away from the streets?
I thought you was going to use Mama Hartman's quote, and the streets don't have no pension.
You know?
And that is very true.
Mhm.
Um, a lot of it starts from home, Jamal, but we have to ensure that home is intact, right? I think we have a lot of young men that have low self esteem, have no confidence,
Mhm.
and believe that the way that they can find that is within the streets and doing things that are negative, because it does bring them a lot of attention, and within their groups they feel uplifted and someone is co-signing on what they think that behavior is going to do. um, so definitely has to be started at home, which means that if the home is normal per se with doing antisocial behavior, who is going to interject to say that that's not right?
Mhm.
When you have parents that continue to be a part of the problem.
Mhm.
But at the same token, if the parents have only learned for themselves this same behavior, it continues to be what we call generational trauma, generational behaviors.
Mhm.
So, although we're not looking at educators and we're not looking at other people, we have to insert those persons here and there to interrupt this behavior that that family feels or knows or believes is what's normal. But definitely have to uplift these young people, because the self esteem and the confidence within what can be positive is not there. I still believe, again, Jamal, influences from social media, influences from music, influences from those things, and these kids really taking it on very wholeheartedly. Real quick, I don't know if you've followed the story about Young Thug, who he's a rapper here in Atlanta, and I believe that he's in charge with racketeering and
I don't even know who Young Thug is, but I know what Rico means now, but go ahead.
Rico. And so basically, they've taken his lyrics from most of his music and built a case, basically indicating that the things that happened on the street that he was a part of, and that they're using the lyrics, social media, and various different things to build this case against him.
Mm.
So, like, come on, people.
Well, and I hear you, folks. The question of the morning, if you're just tuning in, is what can we do to steer young people away from the streets? I know you said parenting. but I'm going to say village. I'm going to say the village. And here's what I mean. When we would go to, and this is very direct and vulnerability here. So we would go outside on Friday nights. It would be youth group at St. Monica's Church, right? And I remember the older people in the neighborhood at the time, they would say, if they were doing their business, yo, get those children from around here, right?
Yeah.
Now it's like, almost, it seems from what we're hearing with the police saying there's younger and younger children being recruited, like you're bringing children into that space where before it was like the village, even though they may have been doing things wrong, they kept the children away from it, right? So
Yeah.
I think some of the challenges are that there's no conscience. Someone said to me the other day, yesterday or the day before, we've got a soulless community.
I felt that, Jamal.
You should be protecting children. You should never, like, even if you're doing, like, the old saying where mama used to send you to Sunday school and she wouldn't go, like, that kind of stuff, right? Oh boy,
Yeah.
that was something I always brought up. But that's just what our community was, is you did not, you always wanted what was best for the next generation. You didn't want them, like, I was always told, if it's one thing my daddy told me is, the job of a parent is to make sure that we provide better opportunities for you and that you become better than we were, right? And
Mhm.
I'm just not sure that we have adults in the community that actually look out for younger people the way that adults, even no matter what they were doing previously. We're talking about,
Right.
guys, they were slinging and selling and doing a pack of ignorance, but they kept that away from the children. Where are the limits? I have this rule. When I was drinking, I had this rule. It's in the Big Brothers program, I'd go to my mentee, pick him up, and I had a rule. It'd be a party at that house and whatnot. They'd offer me drinks. I had a rule. I did not drink in front of children.
Yeah.
I knew how it changed our personalities. Simple things like that, right? Simple
But
our behaviors around younger people can make a difference and steer people in another direction. Like, no, this is because sometimes, Sherry, we have to set the example that we want to see.
yeah. And I was just going to piggyback that there, Jamal, but you have to be conscious. You have to know that there's something different. And the problem we see that if everything in your surroundings is the same, you think everything's wrong with everybody else.
Oh yes.
You see, and so you were able to interject with yourself within yourself to say, okay, I made my behavior, maybe this is not something, and be very conscious and intentional that you're not going to place yourself in a position of that nature in front of children. We
Mhm,
don't have many people that have that intention. They're
mhm.
like, oh, it's a party, it's this, or let me teach this young man this way of life instead of teaching them other things
Yeah, let's just we
outside of
got a
what
lot of
they have.
stuff from the audience. Let's just go to the
Oh,
audience
great.
real quick because you all are coming with it. Again, the question of the morning is, what can we do to steer young people away from the streets? Tanya Cheeseman and Sheik Arena for you, Sherry.
We need to invest in our youth, showing them what their true potential is, which means we need to be willing to put the time in. So
Mhm.
true. Surround them with examples of this better life. Sometimes that's not at home. Agree?
Indeed, I
So,
agree. Christine Can Hamilton says we need more programs in our own communities. Do they have the rite of passage programs still around? I don't even know what that is.
I
So
don't know.
yeah, Lavette Pemberton says good role models. The question is, what can we do to steer young people away from the streets? She says good role models. I agree with her. That is something that I was speaking about just now. Karen Simmons
Um,
says provide young people with opportunities. Don't cost an extreme amount of money. That provide them with positive connections. Listen to them and bolster their self-esteem/confidence. Go ahead, Sharon.
I was gonna say I'm so iffy about role modeling because role models are very human, and I think it just all depends on where we put this role model and what do we cast on them, because we don't want a role model to look as if they do no wrong.
Yeah.
People are human, they make
Yeah.
mistakes. So I'm just real careful with that word role model for that purpose, because you know I,
I
I'm a good
this is
example, but
this is going to be a record. I actually agree with you wholeheartedly. I'm a fan of Charles Barkley in the 90s. Charles Barkley was very he was very vocal that he's not a role model, and he would always say parents should be role models. Now, the argument can be made, well, not all parents live well and live right. Well, that speaks to something else, right? But
yeah.
I even myself, it's tough. I always say to people, if you want me to do something, like when it comes to giving back or speaking to young people or mentoring, I have one rule that we cannot make it public, right? Um, I feel like we champion people in the community who literally use the community. And I said this on Twitter a couple of weeks ago. They use the community to build their own professional and personal resume. And those are the people that we've created as our role models. These people are human, right?
Mhm.
And they make some, as we know, some of them have become politicians. They have been done some indecent things, right?
Yeah.
Um, Again, this is not to knock them. It's just the reality is, I think the term role models, we need to be careful. I think instead of role models, we should just honestly look at a village, a community, because when we think role models, we think of individuals, and we
Mhm.
have to think bigger in a community. Because you all know I cuss a lot. You don't want children cussing like me. I'm trying to do better. I'm trying to do better. But I do this show with people like Sherry. It's not easy. It's not easy.
And he was cussing this morning, you lied.
See,
Look,
you don't
you
have to
lied.
tell them all my business. You don't have to tell them all my business. What can we do to steer young people away from the streets? Tanya Cheeseman and Michelle White for you.
So true, Jamal. There was a time when your parents would not argue in front of the kids. Now kids are exposed to it all.
Mm.
Yeah. I read a story on LinkedIn when a young man's mother disappeared. He was raised by his big sister and women in the neighborhood. This is what we have lost.
Mm, mm.
Yeah.
Um, Lavette Pemberton says maybe a good solution is to feature a PR campaign of successful Black boys and men in the community providing for their community, because the key to the underworld is men that provide for their families. This goes hand in hand with a PR campaign with pushing STEM and trade careers back to Black men. It just, I think it's cut off. Got to keep the comments uh, little tight, be more concise. But I get the point. I don't disagree with it. Here's my challenge. Here's my challenge with that thought, though. PR sometimes comes across as nothing but optics, not action. And as
Hmm.
we focus on certain men in the community. Look, I think Larry Marshall Sr. has done more for our community than many of the people that the majority of people would champion. Here's why I say that. You all was silent when young Black men were being tortured and sexually harassed. He wasn't. Why? Because you were been indoctrinated to believe that that system was in the best interest of disciplining young Black males. So I think I probably disagree with who the majority of Black Bermudians in particular think are role models and heroes. They're not. That's part of the problem. A PR campaign. Who are these people we're talking about? We need to define that, because chances are these are the people who are part of the problem that we have that exists. I'm going to go here this morning. I always say I don't like the idea of charity. I'm very vocal about that.
Yeah.
Charity should not keep us in the same situation we were in last year this time. Let me give you an example. I'm all for people doing stuff that makes the situation better. But I think it was the late great Muhammad Ali, spoke about a man who's still in the same place he was 20 years prior, right? There's no progress. So if you're doing a charity act today, and 1 year from now, what's the date? It's May 12th today, May 12th, 2022. And on May 12th, 2023, you're doing that same act, and the same people are the beneficiaries.
Hmm.
Your charity is about you. Your charity is about building your resume. It's about making you look good in the eyes of the people. It's not about building community. Building community removes people from needing charity. It doesn't keep you in the limelight to provide charity. And so when I think about role models, I think about the people you don't see, the people you don't hear, but most of all, the people you were taught to hate and dislike by the media and the greater public. Many of the people that you champion today, Bermuda, were once enemies of the people who they now champion their names.
Mm.
We wait till people are gone and dead to understand the impact they made to make our community better. So to answer the question, get back to it, what can we do to steer young people away? Rashida Godwin, the work that she and her husband are doing with their company, educating young people. When she comes on the show, she speaks about the impact that young people it's having on young people when they know their history. Simple things about putting books in front of them, information. But we have to be very careful. And I'm sorry, Sherry took me down this road when she said about role models. We have to be very careful
Yeah.
who and what we champion in our community. Because I tell you this, we've been championing the same people for a long time. And these problems have exploded under that watch.
Yeah.
Exploded. Christine and Hamilton and Sheikah Rana for you, Sherry.
Start back the Scared Straight program in the schools. Take them to visit prisons. Sam Factor, I used to do it with some classes.
Mm,
I'll comment on that in a minute. Keep the youth busy, i.e., sports, music, hobbies, so they are occupied and have no time for these streets.
mm,
Um, for
yeah,
me, the Scare Straight program, yes, is great. I think in Bermuda, it's okay. Again, these influence glorified being in prison.
mm,
Some of these young people these young people that they look up to are in prison.
mm,
Why are we going to glorify some of what it is that they're doing? You see what I'm saying? And so, although I get the the aspect of what you're trying to say or what you are saying, but I don't know if I wholeheartedly believe behind it. I think it has to be more. It
mm,
has to be more than scare straight.
mm.
In addition to just involving, I feel like we need to stop glorifying this glamorous life that these children really want to be a part of. That is really not true to a certain degree.
I don't
Somebody's
know. I think this is the rite of passage program she was referring to, though, Christine Ken Hamilton, if that was it. But I had never heard of the program itself, what it is. Sam Cat Play says, do research on who you allow around your kids. Not everyone is the best candidate for a role model. Yeah, I agree.
absolutely.
I agree. Look, we've got to bring Leanna in for the news break. We've got a special guest, Lorene Phillips, coming on, and we're talking about networking, folks. We can speak about so many different things.
Yeah.
And yesterday we had KPMG on speaking with Wanda Armstrong about the work that she does to recruit people for scholarships and how important networking is in that respect. So let's bring Leanna in. Good morning, Lee. How are you?
Good morning, guys. A very, very interesting topic this morning. Definitely listening with the comments, and Jamal, you touched on a lot of really good points this morning about what we can do as a community and a society to help combat these issues that we're facing. I had the chance to listen to Kim Wilson in the House last Friday, where he was, calling on the UK to do an inquiry, a commission of inquiry into what's happening on our island. But it starts here, right?
Kim
It
Swan or
starts
Kim
here.
Wilson?
I'm sorry, Kim Swan. My
Oh,
apologies.
once you said he, I'm like, I think she
Yeah,
means.
sorry, Kim Swan. Yeah. And he was very passionate in how and what he had spoke about, but um I'm of the nature that, it starts at home. We can't
Yeah.
ask everybody to just come and save us every time something happens. We need to put the work in our own community. And I agree with you, Sherry, 100%. Since the birth of social media, these glamified and glorified lifestyles that are portrayed on a daily basis to our young people. And I'm one of those young people that had to step away from social media as well to realize that's not reality at the end of the day, right? So, just getting a handle on it. And like one of our audience members said, bring back community environments. I grew up with values and morals, and I know a lot of my younger cousins did as well. So we got to go back to the basics. And that's,
As much as I don't like to go back, sometimes we have to.
We have to, I've always been a person that, champions wisdom and youth in order to, and I know that in 2022, some of the old practices won't work, but that doesn't mean that we negate all of them.
Literally. Agreed. It's a tough one, folks, but as I said at the beginning, if we're going to wait on someone to come and save us, if we're waiting on government to do it for us, we're going to be disappointed, and the hole's going to be so deep, there's going to be no ladder long enough for us to get out. Lee, over to you.
Do it. Thanks, Jamal and Sherry, and good morning to everyone that's tuned in with us today. I hope you all are having a great start to this rainy and wet day. I'm Leanna Lambert, and it's time for the Daily Hour News Break, brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Well, good news for our tourism product, as plans have officially been given the green light by the Development Applications Board to build a new aerial sands resort. Now, new plans for the site were submitted last year after Michael Douglas, Hollywood star, announced that he had joined forces with JTRE, a Slovakian real estate developer, to redevelop the 13.8-acre site as a 5-star resort. Now, neighboring residents, as we know, had previously rejected the want for the redevelopment project. However, according to the minutes of the DAB's May 4th meeting, plans for the South Shore Devonshire site were approved after a recommendation by a technical officer. Now, the developers have said that the project was expected to create between 60 and 80 construction jobs, with about 40 people employed at the resort once it was up and running. A 4-story, 33-room hotel building is planned for the southeastern side of the property, with amenities including a 100-seat restaurant, bar area, lounge, and gym, all overlooking South Shore. The site would also have 21 villas, including 18 2-bedroom units and 3 4-bedroom units. Now, you might recall the original Aerial Sands Resort, which was co-owned by Mr. Douglas, shut its doors in 2008, and all but a single cottage was demolished in 2015. In other news, both the Commissioner of Police, Darren Simmons, and National Security Minister, Michael Weeks, have commended the bravery of an off-duty officer who heroically intervened after a gunman entered Divots Bar and Grill in Warwick on Tuesday and attempted to shoot. Mr. Simmons said he was hopeful an arrest would be made fairly quickly, as investigations are, he said, progressing well. Now, fortunately, no one was injured and a gun was subsequently recovered. Simon said it was not appropriate to give details on anyone who might have been an intended target, but thanked those who had come forward. He warned the public that sharing the video clip and image that had been circulating social media could quite possibly put the safety and well-being of both that officer and those other persons present at risk. Now, he emphasized that no police were involved in the release of the footage and added that those responsible had expressed regret. Commanding the off-duty officer at the scene, he said that he was grateful for his brave actions in response to the intruder, but he also warned the public against facing off against an armed assailant. And the public will now have the chance to decide who they want as their national or Bermuda national hero. Youth Sport Culture Minister Dr. Ernest Peace said that his ministry is looking to shake things up in the way National Hero Awards are decided by a way of a nomination process, which will now be open to the public every 10 years, with the next cycle beginning in 2025. Now, he said this is as part of the revamp process. The criteria for selection of the national hero will be examined and codified into law. Dr. Peets called for togetherness as the island celebrated its past and heroes in the coming weeks. He said that the annual Premier's concert would now be moved to June in tribute to national heroes. Now, to date, only 8 national hero recipients have been announced since its inception in 2009. Taking a look at today's weather, we have a high near 76 and a low near 70 degrees. If you're already outside, you are aware it is a cloudy and wet start to this Thursday morning. Low pressure to the west continues to move away over the next couple of days, allowing high pressure to return from the northeast. Now, the current wet, thundery, and sometimes breezy pattern will gradually become more settled later today, with brighter conditions to follow for the weekend. We can expect plenty of sunshine throughout Saturday and Sunday, but turning a bit hazy at times. That's all for our daily hour news break, brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Now let's head back to Jamal and Sherry in the studio for today's Daily Focus.
You know, I'm not trying to be negative or whatever you all call me, grumpy or whatnot, but seeing is believing, and I really do hope that Ariel Sands comes through. I'll leave it at that. All right. What you got for us, Sherry?
So today is National Fibromyalgia Awareness Day, and it calls attention to fibromyalgia, which has plagued many people over the centuries. Fibromyalgia is a musculoskeletal disorder that causes chronic pain all over the body. Symptoms include fatigue, anxiety, migraines, just to name a few. People suffering from fibromyalgia either go underdiagnosed for years or misdiagnosed due to lack of research and the difficulty in identifying the factors that cause the illness. May also believe that disease is a psychological and not real. So, yep, it's fibromyalgia.
Fibromyalgia?
Yes, fibromyalgia.
Something tells me I'm glad that you do this, because I could not pronounce it.
I was actually in the back of my mind saying, go Sherry on that word that you said, because there is no way I would have been able to.
Well, here's the thing. Like, she may have pronounced it wrong and we would never know, right?
We would never.
No, I pronounced it correctly.
I'm just saying, like, you could have pronounced it wrong and we wouldn't have known the difference. But thank you for that, Sherry. Leave your seat tomorrow.
Definitely. See you guys tomorrow.
All right, you Sparker Green. All righty, Liana Lambert, folks. Don't go anywhere. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with Lorene Phillips. We're talking networking. And folks, I'll tell you this before we go to break. So those of you who have been watching this show, and even those who you tune in, and shout out to everyone on the BCG Radio app. We see you. Thank you. We appreciate you. She's huge on LinkedIn, and she was on the show last year. This time we got approval to start airing this show on LinkedIn last year, but only when she reached out to come back on to speak about the Huddle and networking did I actually say, you know what, we're gonna put some episodes live on LinkedIn. So it's just funny how we are able to inspire each other through the work that we do. So I'm looking forward to the conversation. I'm gonna shut up so we can go to break so we can hear more from her. Stick with us.
Let's face it, life can be a little wild, but shopping doesn't have to be. I choose People's, so that whether it's a prescription that needs to be filled, a toy for my little terror, or a gift for a new addition to the family, we'll see about that. Everything's available in one convenient location. Some call it People's, I call it my one-stop shop in the city. People's, we're here for you.
We're featuring a range of remarkably effective household cleaning solutions made with ecologically sound ingredients and pleasing fragrances from Ecos, a company with over 50 years experience producing plant-powered cleaning products. The founder was a veteran chemist in the cleaning products industry and started up Ecos as a response to the harsh chemicals he had routinely encountered. Try Ecos non-abrasive cream cleanser, vinegar window cleaner, and in spray bottles, Orange Plus and Parsley Plus cleaners, shower and floor cleaners, furniture polish, and stain and odor remover. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
Mom's celebrating her 70th birthday next month. Have you noticed her age is catching up with her?
Yeah. Plus, she's having a hard time getting up and around like she's used to. I would sure hate to see her fall.
At Medical House Limited, we can help make life situations easier. We have electric beds, motorized scooters, bath stools, walkers, you name it.
Mom's been real good to us. We'll get her birthday and Christmas gifts from Medical House.
Medical House has relocated next to the Dandytown Field, number 6 Bakery Lane, Pembroke. Telephone 292-3622.
Alrighty, welcome back to the big show. She's Sherry Vanderpool. I'm Jamel Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by Medical House One Communications, Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy. Folks, I'm just laughing because I still haven't updated that part of the teleprompter. It still says Sherry with an N on the back. But without further ado, let's bring in our guest for the day. We've got Lorene Phillips from Clarendon Wallace, and I got some insight as to where Clarendon Wallace comes from. We have like the 6 degrees of separation thing. So let's bring our good friend Lorene in the show. Good morning, Lorene. How are you?
Good morning. Great to be here.
Good morning.
Great to have you back. First off, I didn't want to make you nervous and say air, but no, I get on LinkedIn as much as possible, and I appreciate the things that you share. Sherry would tell you I speak about LinkedIn more than probably any other platform on this show because I want to encourage Bermudians, even if you don't leave Bermuda, grow beyond your environment and connect with people in those same spaces as you. You can do it via LinkedIn, and you never know the kind of opportunities that can come. Speak about the work that you do. I'm not sure what happened there. So speak about the work that you do. But first off, let us know what is the Huddle? What's the Huddle?
The Huddle is a dream I had about 8 years ago about creating a virtual platform that would specifically target our young people as leaders, because I see them as leaders in our community and in our workplaces. And I wanted to level the playing field, in particular to those individuals who may not have access to individuals like myself in their network. And this was one way of doing that, where I could provide them with what we call power skills that can separate them from the pack and really give them a competitive edge.
Okay, and I love it. Whenever you say young people, it takes me, it brings me in there, especially on the back of like yesterday's conversation with Wanda Armstrong about from KPMG, and just the amount of young people who do feel like there are not opportunities for them in so many spaces in Bermuda. Earlier this year, you had a huddle, how to negotiate what you're worth. I love the topic. I'm mad I wasn't there. I'm not going to say I wasn't invited because all I need to do is pay attention on LinkedIn, right? But what was this about, and what were some key takeaways?
Oh, that was such a wonderful topic to start with. I'll mention first that the topics are selected by the Gen Zs and the Millennials. So the Gen Zs are individuals that are born between 97 and 2012, so they're between 10 and 25 years old, so generally between 18 and 25, and millennials are born in 1981 to 1991, so they're between 26, 41 years old. And they picked the topic, and the negotiation was the first topic that they thought that we should address and tackle. And the reason why is because so many times as young leaders, we go into a job situation and we go in not negotiating because we don't believe that we're worth it. It's an internal belief system that affects the way that we show up. And so it was really about giving skill sets to help young people to negotiate, but more importantly, to address the fact that they are worth it. And we know that you get from a negotiation what you believe you're worth. So we were able to tackle that head on. And the takeaway was really, if you get an offer, negotiate it. You are expected to negotiate your first offer.
I honestly, I would have loved to attend that. And I hope you do one similar to that. I think especially younger people coming out of school or just joining the workforce don't understand that. And I just love a topic like that. I wish I knew what I know now back then.
Yeah, I practice it with my sons. So I have 3 young men in my family. We have 3 boys, 21, 22, and 23, and a 26-year-old. And in both, definitely for the 21, almost 21, who just negotiated his first salary in the London market, he was absolutely terrified. And I was able to coach him through it. And he had to sit for several days to stew and wait for the response to come. So it is not exciting, but I'm telling you, when you get what you're worth, it is validated. I just remind young people that they're worth it. They are worth what they bring to an organization. They're worth the investment that they've made in their education. They are worth it. They're bringing sometimes millions into an organization and don't even realize what that does to the bottom line.
Wow. It is that confidence and that self-esteem. And like you said, I can feel the fear, right?
Yeah,
The second quarterly huddle takes place on May 15th, and it's titled How to Build Your Network Successfully and Authentically You. First, why is networking so important?
Oh, I'm just going to piggyback on your conversations earlier, is that we need a community. We need a community, especially after 2 years of up and down. We need to be able to have a group of people that we surround ourselves with that create opportunities for us that we would otherwise not be aware of. And so the strength of our network, if we build it correctly, if we build it early, can serve us for decades and decades. And you may even form long time friendships as well. So I really want to start introducing this power skill set of networking. It's a skill that you can develop and you can hone. And it can be daunting for many people, but it is definitely a career differentiator. So I really want to get young people to start getting the skill and getting the courage to move towards networking as an opportunity to drive their success and to build lasting and meaningful relationships.
And that's awesome.
Meaningful.
Right.
Yes, that's, I put the word, so I create these titles with it, which is interesting. But I deliberately put the word authentically you, because so many times you go into a networking event or a networking scenario, whether that be social or whether that be an informal situation, and you see people doing networking the wrong way. It is so inauthentic. And I would look at that and I would say, I will never, I cannot do that. It is so misaligned with who I am. I cannot pretend to be someone I'm not. But what about if there's a way to do it? That is you, it's just you showing up, being yourself, and just finding a way to connect genuinely with others. Those are the relationships that last.
And I was gonna just piggyback on what you were saying just now in regard to we as Bermudians, we're very social, and I think we don't understand when we are networking. But I love how you are indicating with purpose and with intention and being authentic. What does building a network successfully and authentically you mean? What, break that down just a little bit more.
Sure, I will tell you what I do. So I try not to cover a topic that I have not experienced. So until 2 years ago, I was an insurance executive, and insurance executive. I worked most recently in London before returning home. And a big part of my skill set was really about developing portfolio of business for my organization and the different companies that I work for. And so I had to develop these networking skills pretty much all of my career, and it became the thing that was of value to organizations. So imagine being placed into the London market, being asked to create a book of portfolio in Lloyd's of London as a Black female. So I'm a minority on many, many counts. So I cannot just rely on just being social and being a nice person. I have to be strategic. So I create a list of all the people that I know. And then when I meet with these people, I ask them, is there anyone in your network that you think would be incredibly valuable for me to meet? So now I'm being introduced to their network. and it goes on and it goes on. So being strategic is very, very important. Now, being authentic is really just being comfortable in your own skin, understanding that you are worth being in that room, understanding that you're worth engaging in that conversation. And people form an impression about you within 3 to 6 seconds. So the way you present yourself on that first meeting or that first greeting stands out, and it forms an impression that lasts for a lifetime. So what I also do is once a week as an entrepreneur is I reach out to somebody that I haven't connected with lately. Doesn't have to be something big. It could be let's grab coffee or just an email check-in or sharing an article of interest that I've seen. Those are some simple ways that you can stay connected and create new relationships without it feeling overwhelming.
I love that, Lorene.
I just back end that, and I want to, because you said something about just now that I just unconsciously do, and you mentioned just reaching out to someone you haven't connected to in a while. I'm going to share this publicly. Just one situation, since people know her publicly, but everyone knows that Dr. Maria Seaman and I, we butt heads, and she's been on the show before, and I was very critical when she ran for the election and so on. But even still, I reached out to her. I'll use her since people know I last week just said, hey, Pastor Seaman, just reaching out, seeing how things are going. Simple networking, but also showing care about people you may disagree with, people that you may have had a history with. It's not just people that you like or get along with, but networking involves entire community. And I just want to bring that sense of community in it.
Thank you for saying that. We've just gone through an onslaught of not just the BLM, but conversations around diversity, equity, inclusion, accessibility, and belonging. And I will use this point to say it is imperative that you build a network that is diverse as in people of different background, different color, different experiences, different levels within your organization. If you look around and your network looks exactly like you, then you need to go out and create some diversity, because there is so much out there that you can learn from each other to improve certainly the DE&I environment that we find ourselves in. So I am challenged as well, and I do that. My network is extremely diverse, and diverse not just in race again or in seniority, etc., but in age. I love to hang around young people. I think that's one of my secret things to the Huddle, because I see so much of myself in them. When I started my career, I did not have this. I did not have this support. No one invested that in me, not in the way that I am doing. And that's the reason why I started Clarendon Wallace, was really to be more strategic in supporting individuals, particularly underrepresented and marginalized individuals with these skill sets, so that they can be confident wherever they are. I don't care if they're in Bermuda, in New York, in London, in Zurich, they can own the space.
Sherry hangs around young people too, so I get it. But I wanted to just I'm sorry, so sorry, Sherry.
I have things.
He does this all the time, Sherry.
No, but
yes,
I love it. I love. She'll tell you I don't interrupt like this, but you're doing it for me. And I want to say, just now as you were speaking, it hit me when you said, about people, your circle or network looking like you. But I want to highlight something else. Diversity of thought is just as important as diversity of what people look like. So the people around you shouldn't. Sherry would tell you she thinks very different from me. Like we talk more than we do for this 1 hour on the show, and having people that have different thought processes than you is so important for the growth in your network.
It is critical, and it allows for the development of another soft skill called curiosity. I don't think we're curious enough. We're not curious enough to ask those powerful questions that can really impact organizations and lead to change. So I really implore and allies that may be listening in as well. If you look around and all of your network includes the same people that look like you, please, there are some amazing young people out there that are looking for allies that can support them as well within organizations.
And I think, and to piggyback what Jamel said, is very
Mhm.
helpful. We had a conversation the other day about something, and I said, Jamel, well, how do you do that? And being able to have those conversations so fairly. Also, on top of that, being able to be aware of world events. When you talk about not having your group looking the same, the information that you have should not just be singular. It should be information that you receive from all over to have these conversations.
Yeah.
So I see that the Huddle targets next gen leaders. What are
Yes.
next gen leaders? Who are they?
Well, next gen leaders are the next generation of leaders. They are going to be the one, in my view, that is going to solve the challenges of the future. And they need support. And I think earlier someone, the other host was talking about social media and the impact of social media. This is their world. Their world is full of technology. They think differently. They work differently. This hybrid environment has been a challenge for them. Most of them started working within the pandemic, and so they're emerging out of the pandemic and trying to figure out how do they create a space for themselves. So we're talking about again between 18 years old up to mid 30s. But I must admit that some parents have texted me or connected with me on LinkedIn to say that they stayed on the call because no one ever told them this stuff. So, so for all the Gen Xers like myself, if you want to snoop in and listen in, you are more than welcome. Yeah, I see my young people as leaders already.
Awesome. Who are some of the people who will be on the panel, and where can people sign up to participate?
Okay. Thank you for asking that. So one of my job in putting the huddle together is to go out and find individuals that are willing to invest their time on these topics. So last huddle we had Suzanne Pateras, but this huddle coming up on networking skills, we have Craig Bridgewater. Craig and I connected a few months ago over coffee, and we had a wonderful conversation that naturally went right into networking. And I thought he would be perfect because not just of his expertise in the area that he does, but also his representation as a very successful Black professional that is so down to earth, so connected, and I think a great example that can model what good networking looks like, and also how that has impacted him in his career trajectory. As you know, he was recently promoted to Group Chief Financial Officer at Butterfield. And then I have Bill McCormick on, which will be, I love that one. We'll be talking about all things LinkedIn. Jamal, so you're going to love that. And he's going to share some techniques and some tips that our participants will be able to walk away with in how to create at least a really good, solid LinkedIn profile to start with, and how to use that as a networking event. And then we have a Gen Z and a millennial who will be a part of the conversation, and they will be sharing their experience. If you look on the flyer, the young guy at the end is actually my son, Lorene Phillips. And he is going to be talking about what it's like to network as an introvert.
Ah, that's interesting. I really enjoyed what you said in regards to the panel and being able to be as diverse as it possibly can to reach. I need the LinkedIn portion.
So, yeah, she definitely does. And folks, we're going to share the link for you on the platforms where you're tuned in outside of the radio, of course. But we have a few questions from the audience. Sam Place is asking, there are people who are considered strong networkers but present themselves as being better than others in the dark. How do you suss them out so these young folks don't take on those bad traits?
That's a tough one. I mean, that's a part of the journey of growing and developing your own instincts as well. I think one of the best ways also is for young people to get a good mentor, and being able to really bounce ideas off or run names by people as well, and do their own research. So do your research as well in terms of who you want to connect with and why, and making sure that those individuals are individuals that are aligned with your values and beliefs.
And it goes back to what you said earlier, like the right people. Like, I again, me joining LinkedIn was a part of when I was in graduate school. We were in a strategic communications course, and the professor, she was the one, she made it a part of the course. We had to create a LinkedIn account. So that's how I got on LinkedIn. And it has been so beneficial for me. Like, I put a post up for work 2 weeks ago and got tons of people coming in. It's helped me with business. It's helped me with like people when they don't have business cards. I don't have business cards, and I'm at a networking event. They immediately, no one has business cards. Let's just link on right here and stay connected. The things that I've learned from people. So, I don't know if people who are on other social media platforms understand, but LinkedIn is a place where you can benefit from it without ever sharing or writing your own post. That's what I find so interesting on LinkedIn. And I'm not saying you shouldn't engage on there, but what I'm saying is you can benefit from it without ever sharing. Like on Facebook and Instagram, it's all about, sharing and algorithms. LinkedIn, you can literally follow people and connect with people of interest that you believe can benefit you, and honestly get so much out of it with a little less effort. And it to me, it's just amazing. Mark Arthur C. Phillips has a question for you. Good morning, Ms. Phillips. Have you noticed the level of diversity has improved in the Bermuda business marketplace?
I think it's getting better, but there is room for so much more improvement. And also, I want to focus a lot, not just on the numbers, but on the quality of the skill set in the marketplace. And, this is what the Huddle is really about. It's not focusing on the hard technical skills. It's focusing on those things that can really short circuit your career success, short circuit your career trajectory. I want to focus on those blind spots, those things that are getting in the way around confidence, imposter syndrome, different fears that people may have. So communication skills. Those are the areas that I'm focusing on so that they not only get in the marketplace, Jamal, but they stay there and they thrive and they succeed and they move right up the ladder and bring others with them.
All right. Michelle White says LinkedIn is the ultimate networking platform, both locally and internationally.
Yes, I'm familiar with her. The LinkedIn during the pandemic just exploded. I mean, LinkedIn was always around, but it exploded. And Bill will be sharing some stats on Sunday, the 15th, for the Huddle around the Bermuda numbers. But the last time he and I spoke, he mentioned that about 40,000 individuals listed Bermuda as their location. Now, if you compare that to the population of Bermuda, strip out young children, that's a lot of people as a percentage. So LinkedIn is a very thriving professional networking website. And I would encourage anyone to just get started and start building community. There are different groups you can follow that is in your line of interest. And you can share articles. And I love, you see my post, I love writing on LinkedIn, and I write about things that are happening. I don't do these kinds of, pre-written things and they spew out. I actually write what's happening in the moment that can connect. And I also take a lot of material from my clients as well that gives me a window into their world and what they're experiencing as well. So, yeah.
And I was just going to add, and for you to touch real quickly before we get out of here, is how do you change somebody's mindset in regard to feeling that networking is a little bit snoozey or not for us, or brown nosing, as they say?
Yes.
How do we change that mindset real quick?
I was one of those, so I know exactly what it feels like until I saw it done well. And when I saw it done properly, I thought, oh my goodness, this is what it should be like. So how about changing a mindset away from what you've said earlier to a mindset that said, I just might meet someone interesting today.
Okay. I love that.
Lorene Phillips, thank you so much. I appreciate the work you do. And I will be encouraging people to sign up, get what they can out of this free program. We did share it up on the screen. We'll do our best to share it on our social media platforms as well. And keep putting up that great content on LinkedIn. I'm looking forward to continuing to learn from what it is you do. So thanks again, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
No
Take care.
All righty. Lorene Phillips, folks, if you appreciated that conversation, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. We are going to take a quick break. We have the giveaway. We're going to wrap it up, and we have the daily play. No, Sherry's not getting away from that. The giveaway, hashtag the daily hour. We'll speak to you more about it after this break, if I can.
A lot happens around your home. That is why at One Communications, we have introduced affordable security and video monitoring, because everyone should be able to afford to protect their family. Anytime, from anywhere, One Home Security keeps you connected and puts security in your hands with an easy-to-use smartphone app to control everything. Home security is important to keep you and your family safe. Motion-activated cameras around your home and security monitoring within create a complete security system providing protection both inside and outside your home. Professional monitoring means that there's someone on call with 24/7 protection to notify the authorities and help keep you and your loved ones safe. We are dedicated to whole home protection with indoor and outdoor cameras, smart door locks, motion sensors, and more, so you'll always be connected to what matters most. With professional installation, no upfront hardware fees, and low monthly rates, because keeping your family safe should be affordable for everyone. Total home video monitoring and security, there's no better way to protect your home than with One Home Security.
Alrighty, welcome back to Big Show. She's Sherry Vanderpool. I'm Jamal Hartman. It's the Daily Hour. Thanks again to Lorene Phillips. If you appreciated that conversation, found it helpful, give us a thumbs up, a love, a like, share that kind of information, folks. LinkedIn will help you grow beyond your environment and get opportunities way beyond where you are. Trust me when I tell you. So give her a big thumbs up. Share this kind of information. Thanks again to One Communications, People's Pharmacy, Medical House, and Lindos. It's time for the Daily Play brought to you by Heineken 0.0. Great taste, no alcohol. Sherry, are you ready?
Sure.
All right, here we go. Help her out, folks. What beach was reopened to the Bermudian public on May 24th, 1996?
Long Bay. Am I close? What beach was reopened? Somerset Long Bay. What beach was closed? Wait, Alba Beach? Man. Police Beach?
The question was, what beach was reopened to the Bermudian public on May 24th, 1996?
No. Clearwater.
No, the audience already got it. They already got it.
I just, before you put it up there, I was like, oh gosh, the bass class and all of that. It just came to me. I needed a minute. I said it before you pulled it up there, Jamal.
No.
I did.
They said it before you said it. The audience said it. It is.
But I still got it right.
It was Clearwater Beach.
At the buzzer.
No. You got it way after the buzzer. Thank you. Clearwater reopened to the public. Yes, the base. Folks, some people are saying Police Beach. Some people saying 9 beaches. Some people saying Fort St. Catherine.
But you liked it. I was like, no. Clearwater.
Yeah. Look. What's his name? Pat Sajak wouldn't have gave it to you. He would have felt bad for you, but he wouldn't have gave it to you. Hashtag the Daily Hour, folks. While we wrap it up, don't forget, we're giving away a book titled Homecoming, Overcoming Fear and Trauma to Reclaim Your Whole Authentic Self by Dr. Tamar Bryant, who will be hosting a free webinar on Saturday, May 14th of this year, put on by the Bermuda Psychology Association, the Bermuda College, and Mount Zion AME Church. So you can put the hashtag the Daily Hour in now, and we will do the giveaway. Sherry, let's wrap up today's show. What's your thoughts, my sister?
Self-esteem, confidence, and a village to help combat these young men that are doing not so positive things, very antisocial behavior. But we need to interject some confidence and self-esteem into these young people. As far as the huddle, I'm excited. Networking is very important. I loved what Lorene said in regards to networking with intention and being your authentic self. Definitely should take part in this program.
Yeah, I remember in primary school we didn't have a graduation. We had a prize given, and my grades were so low you could miss them on a board. But anyway, that's neither here nor there at this point in my life. But I got an award at the prize given for self-esteem. And I didn't know what self-esteem meant back then. I didn't. But as I grew older, I started to understand myself a bit more. And I guess that's one of the reasons that, my mind was never like a sponge. That's the reason I was never influenced to smoke weed like everybody else or get into the in crowd, because I was always a different child and had a self-belief that, no one could teach. That said, I understand what you mean by that, because there are so many people that are not built that way. So many people live to please others. We have adults. We have elderly people who literally are out here living to try to please others. So I can only imagine children. So I do think that plays a huge role. I want to go back to the role model thing. Folks, we've been celebrating and honoring people in our community for so long who have done nothing to improve our community. Maybe it's time we look at ourselves and wonder, what is it we've been doing wrong, and try to make it right? Because I tell you, most of our problems, the solutions are within each and every one of us. Lorene Phillips, like I said, inspiration, the way that she pushes and does what she does. I really hope more people take advantage of LinkedIn and the opportunities that come with it. Let's do the giveaway. Check out her huddle. Again, we shared it, folks. Let's see. Let's hit it. Draw. It's draw time.
All right, let's see.
Hold on.
No. Oh, I was like, no, they.
Did Perman Christine win earlier this week? I thought she won. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
I thought she won earlier this week, but please send an email to engage@the-daily-hour. Hold on, I'm going to check, because if you won, we're going to do it again. If you won earlier this week, we had Marquita Lee, we had Karen Simmons, and no, it wasn't Perman Christine. So Perman Christine, send us an email, engage@dailyhour.com.
She's probably shouting at the computer. Like,
no, I'm not trying to take away your winnings, but I'm just sure, you wouldn't want to win twice. And we have a very generous audience who will give. Yeah, she won several months ago. So send us an email, engage@the-daily-hour.com. Congratulations to you, Perman Christine. I'm saying Perman Christine. I'm pretty sure it's Christine Perman, but I'm just saying what I see on the screen. Any daily inspiration for us, Sherry?
Yes, don't worry what others are doing. Do you. And that's Russell Simmons.
Oh, all right. Well, do you, player? Do you. All right, folks. Thanks again to our partners, Medical House One Communications, Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy, for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. She's Sherry Vanderpool. I'm Jamal Hartman. My friends, make it a safe and great day. I just burped. Did you hear that?